Hey y'all, I'm
Powered by
Kimberly,
Riverside
and
FM.
this is the Frolicking Truth, a soft space for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal. Here, joy meets justice. We calm our Black ass nervous systems, we unmask, and we leave behind whatever that is trying to kill us. You're seen here, you're safe here, and you don't have to do this alone.
What's up? And we're here. This is episode 13 of the Frolicking Truth podcast for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal, where joy meets justice and nervous systems get free. It is okay if you don't identify with those descriptors. I just need you to come in here to listen and learn and support and send me some good energy before I have a crash out. I wanted to announce the first episode of Gathered Conversations for the Collective is being recorded this Friday. Insert applause here. Gathered, I had told you all a few weeks ago, it is kind of the offshoot of the Frolicking Truth because there are things that we need to talk about. And I'm not an expert on everything. I only know what I know. So I go and I find experts to talk about things so that they can like teach us and learn us something, you know? So this episode is with Corrine Taylor, who is actually one of my pro-fights and sorority sisters. So pro-fight means that she brought me into the organization Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So anyway, Corrine is an environmental justice advocate and activist. She's worked in those arenas for so many years. So I had reached out to her because I was like, girl, we got to start talking about things because there are a lot of cuts that have been happening and it's a lot that's going on environmentally in the United States right now. So Karina's going to be coming on to talk to us about environmental justice, what that means, how we can think about what's happening in the environment, how different things that are happening in government are impacting us, what we can do at an individual level to be able to support ourselves and insulate ourselves. I'm really excited about having Corrine on and having this conversation. So this is the inaugural episode of Gathered. So it's going to be a good time. So the name of this episode is called Living Out Loud, Art, Rest, and Revolution. I want to call it How Not to Crash Out on These People Internet. That's what I want to call it. Because I've had a few moments today where I have just really been like, if one more thing happened, I'm canceling the day. But I can't because I have a lot of meetings today. So here we are. But so yeah, anyway, this episode is called I might just say I like the second title better. I might change it to that because what is happening? All right. But anyway, so before I get into the auntie check-in, let me share. I wanted to share this comment because y'all have been commenting and I appreciate that. So I want you to continue leaving comments, please, and thank you, because that helps me to understand what is resonating. It lets me know the things that you want to talk about, like all of that. So I appreciate when y'all leave me comments because I'm able to make sure that I'm talking to my people. It says, such a wealth of knowledge you shared with us. First about privilege and recognizing it. Then about how the brain needs to be calm before it can focus on self and helping others and recognizing privilege. Then about how we can help others by evening the playing field and lifting others up. LOL, and the laughs with that song, Back That Ass Up and Rough Riders. Then remembering Malcolm Jamal Warner and Cosby Show nostalgia. Then soul work to recognize privilege in our life. I thank you and thank you and thank you for work, time, and energy you put in. So much love. So I wanted to share that. Thank you for this comment. It means a lot. I do put a lot of work into preparing for this. That's why I'm finna crash out because things ain't working how they're supposed to be working right now. because I really do take the time to do research and think through this and make sure that I am bringing you something that is meaningful. So I'm not going to push it, y'all. I have videos that I want to share. So I'm going to have to put these in post, but I'm still going to tell you what I wanted to tell you because that's what we're here to talk about. So if you're watching it during the live, you'll have to come back on Saturday and see what I put in. Okay. So anyway, let me get into this auntie check-in. So child, I need to use my feelings wheel and see how I feel right now. Cause girl, what is happening? Let me pull up my feelings wheel. Right now, I feel annoyed. I feel really annoyed. I also feel really silly though right now and really playful, even though I'm hella annoyed. I'm also confusion because Mercury, girl, you ain't got to show out like this. Your braids this tight, girl. Get them things loosened up, girl. So if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Mercury is in retrograde right now. And let me actually see how long it's going to be in retrograde because I can't take this too much longer. But I know it's a couple more weeks. So it's until August 11th that Mercury is going to be in retrograde. Then it's going to be back in November. My God, today. So what happens when Mercury is in retrograde is that technology should be wilding out. Technology, communication. During Mercury retrograde, you're not supposed to sign like contracts. You want to avoid having conversations about like agreements and things like that because it's known for a lot of miscommunication and tech shit to pop off. So it's doing that. It's doing that right now. Okay. And I am doing everything I can to keep my shit together. So let me tell you how my crash out almost started this morning. Okay, all right, okay, cool. So yesterday, the housekeeper was supposed to come. All right. Now, I am someone who outsources housekeeping because I live with OCD, and I'm going to get into that more in a minute. And cleaning bathrooms specifically is really, really difficult for me. So instead of trying to do all I can to push myself through and push and push and push and push, I just outsource that responsibility. But this is the thing. So the housekeeper was supposed to come yesterday. She didn't come because she was sick. And that's good that she didn't come because she was sick, because I don't want you bringing those cooties here. But also, she had told the owner that she was, because this is not my housekeeper. So my housekeeper that I had, she lives really far from here. So this is the owner's housekeeper. Okay. So the housekeeper told the owner, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm sick. Well, the owner is also sick. So she didn't tell me that the housekeeper wasn't coming. So I'm expecting the housekeeper to come yesterday at 9 a.m. So I wake up at 7, washed my hair. Also, you see Raina. Child. Raina is my hair, in case you didn't know. Baby, let me tell you. Let me tell you something. I had to give sis her props this morning because, girl, you ain't had to show out on these people like this, girl. And I know it's pixelated and y'all can't see it, but I could see it real clear on my end. Girl, so I didn't use hair products that I have been crafting. I used some other hair products because I didn't have time. So, but what I had did, and this is not sponsored, and also this is also very dependent on what your hair needs, but I'm gonna tell you what I did. So first of all, I had washed my hair the other day. That's first off. And then I was trying to be fancy because I miss having color in my hair. And if I don't have color in my hair, then I'd be tempted to cut it off. So then I was like, oh, but I have some hair wax that Bianca had bought me. So I was like, well, I'm gonna just put the hair wax in. But I also had not, these are new products, because the products I usually use is Donna's Recipe by Tabitha Brown. But I've been running out, and all of them are not available on Amazon. Because remember, I had told y'all I made that Amazon order, and then when the Amazon order came, I had some hair cream in there, but the hair cream was all over the damn box, so I didn't even get to use it. So then I had got some extra, some different types. So I had got some Shea Moisture leave-in conditioner, which I haven't used Shea Moisture in a long, long time, but whatever, it came in one piece. So I had some Shea Moisture leave-in conditioner. It's the black Jamaican castor oil, apple cider vinegar, peppermint, something else, lime. I use that. And then I have some Auntie Jackie's. Is it aunt or auntie? I don't know. Auntie Jackie. She has some curl cream that I've never used. Now, I've used the flaxseed gel before, but I've never used the curl cream. So, and they didn't have the flaxseed gel when I was trying to order it, but I got a whole lot of this hair cream. So anyway, so I put the leave-in conditioner the first time. I put the leave-in conditioner, I put the hair cream, I put the hair wax. Didn't like it. It was trash. I didn't like it. I was like, I look so crazy right now. My curls were just not it. The wax wasn't on there evenly. I say, I don't like it. Gotta start over. So I got up early yesterday because the housekeeper was supposed to come at 9. So I got up at 7. I washed my hair, right? So I did the clarifying, all of it over. Now, this is the thing, is what I know and what I'm learning is when you wash your hair more often, it don't take that long. But also, who got time to be washing their hair that many times? Not me. I got a lot of hair. Right. And every time I wash it, I'm gonna have to put products in it. That's a lot of products, especially if I'm buying other people's products and ain't made my own yet. You feeling me? You follow me? Okay. So then I had posted a video and I was showing y'all, I didn't show y'all the products, but I was putting in the leave-in conditioner and then I was putting in the curl cream, and I went section by section, and I really was like, let me just really use some, because I need it to, like, I need to see what it's actually going to look like. And when I tell you, I am very pleased with what it looks like, because I can see like curl definition. And so I released the idea of, like, I try to release my hair looking a certain way per se. Like if it gets frizzy or whatever, I try to just let it be frizzy and it is what it is. But if because I was like stressing out, it was a lot. And I feel like it was based in colonization, and like it was too much. So I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I was ready to embrace it, you know? So yesterday it was drying and all that. And I don't have a hair dryer, so I had to sit next to the space heater for a little while. And so it, started drying. So then I put my bonnet on and I went to sleep. Well, then this morning I got in the shower, and the shower is like the steam treatment, if you will, for my hair. So then I get out the shower and I looked in the mirror and I said, Raina, girl, okay, sis, right? So that was real cool or whatever. And then it was 9 o'clock and the housekeeper was supposed to come, and she ain't come. So I messaged the owner and I'm like, hey, what time the housekeeper coming? So then she was like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you, because I was sick, that she's sick, and like, my bad, can she come another day? And this is the thing, this is where the crash out began, because I live with OCD. Okay. And what that means is that there are a lot of steps that I go through to prepare myself in my space for things to happen, especially if somebody else got to come in my space. Okay. So all of this is going somewhere. Just strap in. Okay. Just strap in, because it's a lot. So in preparation for the housekeeper to come, keep in mind, I told you this is not my housekeeper. This is the owner's housekeeper. Number one, I don't really trust old girl like that. I don't know her like that. You feel me? So and it's not that I think she's gonna take something. I think that she moves things. And that has caused crashing out, because why are you not just putting things back where I had them? I told her, hey, I have OCD. So I need you to be really intentional about the way that you clean. I need you to put things back where you found them. She not doing that. Okay. So what that means is I have to take certain precautions to make sure that my things are where I can find them, because I don't like signing up for scavenger hunts that I didn't want to be a part of. I don't want to be looking for my charger. I don't want to be looking for my favorite spoon. Put the shit where I had it at. You feel me? Okay, so because I have OCD, I promise all this is going somewhere, but this is me having my crash out because I need to do it. I need to do it. So I don't like walking on tile floors. I don't like cold things on my feet. Okay. I don't like I'm sorry, I'm cringing right now inside. I just don't like it. Okay. So this place where I'm staying, the floor is tile. Therefore, I need to have slippers. Now, granted, I was always going to have slippers because this is not my place, right? I see it being clean, but also it might be residue. So I'm going to have slippers. But I also don't like touching tile floors. All right. So that's important to know. So because I don't like touching tile floors, I carry rugs or like carpet tiles with me because I also like to have zones where I can be barefoot. So I have like these carpet tiles that I got from IKEA and I have them in my suitcase. I make space for them. So wherever I go, I have a safe, fuzzy, cozy place to put my toesies so I don't have to touch the floor. All right. Now, I don't trust people with how they do things and how they launder things and how they clean things. And like, I have seen people, this is going so many directions, but like, so in the kitchen, for instance, I have a sponge that I use only to wash dishes. I have a sponge that I use to clean the sink. I have a rag, if you will, that I use to wipe the counters. Those are the purposes of those three things. I don't use the rag that I wipe the counter with to wash the dishes. I don't use the sponge that I use to clean the sink to wash the dishes. Right. But everybody doesn't respect that, especially if it's not somebody that I have hired and vetted. Right. So because of that, every time after the housekeeper comes, I just change out the sponges because I can't control you and what you do. And I'm not about to sit here and watch you. So let me just have an extra sponge. And that way I know the sponge is clean and I'll use it for the lifetime until the housekeeper comes back. Right. So I have to do that, like about a lot of things because I don't know her like that. So I have to pick up my carpet tiles. I have to wash them. Then I have to pick them up so that she can clean the floor. So that after the floor is clean, then I put my tiles back. So I have my zones. I pick up I also carry my bath mats with me. So I wash those and have them prepared. So those were washed on Monday. I did all this on Monday in preparation for her to come on Tuesday. So I wash all of those rugs and all that kind of stuff, get that together, right? I put it in the bag in the storage area so that she could clean. Everything is picked up. I break down my computer because I don't want you breaking shit. Okay, so let me break down my computer, put it in a safe place so that you can clean the desk and clean the things, right? So I'm doing all of this stuff in preparation for the housekeeper to come on Tuesday at 9 a.m. And guess what? She don't come. So now I don't have my carpet tiles that I need. Now I don't have my bath mats. Now I could put it back down, but now she's gonna come on Friday. So then I'm gonna have to pick it up again. Right. So it's like now I just got to live a few days without the things that I need to bring me comfort on my toes. You feel me? So it's a lot that I have to go through. And a lot of this happens on the inside. On the outside, I just be looking like this. Just sitting there blinking. But on the inside, all of these things are being thought. I need to wash my slippers. I need to wash my slippers to make sure that they are clean. I need to wash the bath mats. I need to wash this ahead of time. I need to put this up. I need to put that away. I need to like do these things. I want her to come in here and have as clean of a slate as she possibly can because I also want you to be efficient, get in and get out because I got shit to do and I want to be comfortable in my living space. But she didn't come. So now she's coming on Friday. So in the meantime, in between time, I am having to live in a way that is not necessarily the most comfortable way that I would usually live. So I've been crashing out a little bit on the inside because I get that the owner was sick, but also respect people's time. Like if we walk away with anything from this besides the fact that Kimberlyn is wild and crazy, I need us to respect people's time and understand that when your universe intersects with somebody else's universe, that should be a easeful interaction. Don't make other people's world more difficult because you refuse to understand what they might be going through. For example, I told you I used to date Dr. Asshole. And this is when I should have just been like, the dick ain't worth it. But you learn, you live and you learn. Okay. So Dr. Asshole, one of the first things he said to me, so after that time, or before that time, I was living in Mexico City. Before that, I had my mental health crisis, right? So I had the mental health crisis in July 25th. It was literally 2 years and 5 days ago. All right. That my brain was like, bitch, we're done. We're done here. Okay. So I had to leave and go back to Mexico City. So I lived back in Mexico City from December of 2023 through February. I met Dr. Asshole just before I left to go back to Mexico City. We stayed in touch while I was in Mexico City. And then when I came back, that's when we like started dating. And one of the first things that he said to me was, oh, so during that time, hold on before I get to that. During that time, I had a lot of difficulty with the bathroom in Mexico City. It was a lot of tile. Okay. And this is when I realized I really do have OCD because I had read Howie Mandel's book and I was like, oh my God, this is my life. This is how much this controls everything that I do. And so I had just started naming that and saying that out loud. All right. So I get back here to Colombia, talking to Dr. Asshole. And he says, I said, please don't go in the bathroom with your shoes on because I had purchased bath mats so that I would have safe spaces to be able to take my shoes off. When I'm getting out the shower to be barefoot. So he had come over and I was like, don't go in the bathroom with your shoes on. Apparently I said it too forcefully for him. He was sensitive, apparently. He felt some type of way. He said I yelled at him. But I was speaking with urgency because don't go up in that bathroom with your shoes on. So stepping on my clean rug with your dirty ass shoes. Now, mind you, he's a whole ass doctor. Okay, remember last week I said just because you a doctor don't mean you did research. You act like you ain't never grown bacteria before. So anyway, he tells me about me yelling at him or whatever. And I said, I have OCD. So that's something that I'm asking you to respect. And he said, you don't have OCD because people with OCD line things up. And I was like, but I do line things up. I very much have things in a particular place, in a particular way. I am very much the type of person that I can tell if you came in and touched my things. I can tell because I have the label facing a certain way. Like I put things in a particular place and way that is going to help me. So that was wild. And also, you ain't been around me, nigga. How the hell you know? Right? And all of this stuff happens on the inside. So anyway, after that, I really started like understanding that I have OCD. So I had gotten my apartment. I used to always have to fight with him about taking his fucking shoes off every time that he would come in. And it's like, I shouldn't have to ask you to do all of that. But what is happening in my mind? So this also helps with other people that have people in their lives who have crashed out about things that you might think are small. But inside, what is happening with them is that they're losing their shit because there are certain reasons why things are the way that they are, right? So this is what happens with me, all right? First of all, I see everything. I might not say anything, but I see everything, all right? Okay. So we're outside, we're walking around, we're having a great time, we're frolicking, we're out here on the ground, on the grass, and the ground is dirty. I don't know if y'all knew that. It is. Okay, it's all kind of shit that's on the ground outside. Okay, so you have your shoes and you're walking on that dirty ground, and then you get to your house, and then you take those dirty shoes, and then you walk on the floor in the house. Now the floor is dirty, like outside. Then you take off those dirty shoes and you put your clean feet on that dirty floor. So now your dirty feet are out, like outside dirty feet, and on the floor that is no longer clean because you had walked around with your dirty shoes. And then sometimes people would take them dirty feet and put them dirty feet in the bed. Ah, take me out of here. So that's the kind of stuff that was happening, right? So we'll go somewhere, he'll come over, I'm like, take off your shoes. I'm watching him walk around, like, so he, like, my kitchen was like right next to the front door, kind of. So I'm watching you. You think that I don't see you, but I see you tiptoeing, because you think just because you tiptoe now all of a sudden the floor is less dirty. It's still dirty. It's still dirty. So I'm watching you do that, and then you sneak in trying to do it. So now I can't trust you, because I made it very clear to you that I would like for you to take your shoes off at the door because they're dirty. But now I'm watching you with them dirty shoes walk across my floor, and now I know that you're sneaky. Because why you can't just respect what I asked you to do? But on the outside, you know what it looks like? This. Because if I crash out the way I want to crash out, because I don't understand why I'm even having to explain this to you, because one, ain't you a doctor? But even if there's somebody who ain't a doctor, like, I shouldn't have to explain to you, over explain to you, but I'm doing this for the sake of us understanding. I'm making my thinking visible here, you know. But that's all the stuff that be happening inside my brain when I'm encountering situations where there are germs. That's all the stuff that's happening inside my brain. That's a lot. That's a lot to manage. It's a lot to think through. It's a lot to explain. And what it feels like is like I am like my body, like I'm about to like explode. It feels like I'm about to explode. It feels like everything in me is just going like this. That's how it feels. But you can't see that on the outside. Because on the outside, it looks like I'm just standing there because I'm paralyzed, because I'm not understanding why I got to keep explaining the same thing over and over again. Can't you just do this to help me? So I designate zones in the house where I know that it is clean and I can put my feet on the floor or on the whatever, right? So that's why I was like, let me get the carpet tiles. That way I'll have what I need with me. Let me get the bath mats. So that way I'll have what I need with me. And then I don't have to have a crash out moment. Yet the housekeeper didn't come. So we are back at 1. So we are back at 1. And I'm waiting. She's supposed to be here on Friday. And so now, I have to wake up early again to be able to be here for up and ready, and, ready for her to do what she needs to do. And like, it's a lot. So I want us to take all of that in, because people don't talk about these types of things. You know why people don't talk about these types of things? Because in the United States of America, they criminalize things like this. And I don't know if y'all knew this, but new legislation was just passed that has now made it illegal to have mental health illnesses, addiction, or homelessness. It is now illegal. And basically the way that the executive order is framed is that anyone who has any type of mental illness, addiction, or homelessness is going to be forcibly placed into a treatment facility. Let me find the article so I could let us know. What I was about to say was, I know the proper term is unhoused for people, but I don't know how you say that and make that a descriptor for an encampment of unhoused people. Maybe that's what we say. But basically, those are like tent cities and things of that nature. That's it. I'm coming to Columbia. I've been trying to tell y'all. So basically in the article it says that on July 24th, President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an executive order urging cities and states to clear homeless encampments and move people into treatment centers, a move that advocates for the homeless said would worsen the problem. The order directs Attorney General Pam Bondi, who, by the way, is from Florida. And I told y'all I used to live in Florida, and a lot of this shit that's happening right now started in Florida. Okay. So Pam Bondi used to be the attorney general in Florida, and now she's the attorney general for the whole country. Okay. So she sits at the helm of a lot of this stuff. So it says the order directs Attorney General Pam Bondi to overturn state and federal legal precedents and consent decrees that limit local efforts to remove homeless camps. It remains unclear how Bondi could unilaterally overturn such decisions. Now, I want to find the one where it talks about mental health. Hold on. Trump mental health executive order 2025. Here it is. Ending crime. We going to the source, y'all. Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets is the name of the executive order. Again, it was signed on July 24th. All right, Section 1, Purpose and Policy. Endemic vagrancy, disorderly behavior, sudden confrontations, and violent attacks have made our cities unsafe. The number of individuals living on the streets in the United States on a single night during the last year of the previous administration, 274,224, was the highest ever recorded. The overwhelming majority of these individuals are addicted to drugs, have a mental health condition, or both. Nearly 2/3 of homeless individuals report having regularly used hard drugs like methamphetamines, cocaine, or opiates in their lifetime. An equally large share of homeless individuals reported suffering from mental health conditions. The federal government and the state have spent tens of billions of dollars on failed programs that address homelessness, but not its root causes, leaving other citizens vulnerable to public safety threats. Shifting homeless individuals, and I want you to recognize that I said the appropriate term is unhoused, and how many times they're saying homeless and homeless individuals. It's the same thing that they've done with undocumented immigrants and how they keep saying illegal aliens. The language that they're using is very intentional, and it is meant to dehumanize people while putting things under this umbrella of pretending that they're doing this to be able to be humane. Okay, so shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. Surrendering our cities and citizens to disorder and fear is neither compassionate to the homeless nor other citizens. My administration will take a new approach focused on protecting public safety. So these are the things that they're saying. The first order is, it says restoring civil commitment. Seek in appropriate cases the reversal of federal or state judicial precedents and the termination of consent decrees that impede the United States policy of encouraging civil commitment of individuals with mental illnesses who pose risk to themselves or the public, or are living on the street and cannot care for themselves in appropriate facilities for appropriate periods of time. So let me read that again. In appropriate cases, they're going to reverse the protections that have been set up on the federal level and on the state level. And they are going to encourage civil commitment of individuals with mental illness who pose risk to themselves or the public, or are living on the street and not able to care for themselves. The second point, providing assistance to state and local governments through technical guidance, grants, or other legally available means for the identification, adoption, and implementation of maximally flexible civil commitment institutional treatment, and step-down treatment standards that allow for the appropriate commitment and treatment of individuals with mental illness who pose a danger to others or are living on the streets and cannot care for themselves. So this one is basically is gaslighting in some ways because they already cut all the funding for mental health support. So they cut Medicaid, which was already difficult to get mental health support through, but they cut that. And they have cut the actual funding and grants that go into providing mental health support for people. They've cut the funding that funds the VA, so Veterans Affairs, for veterans to provide them with mental health support. So they've cut all of that, but they're also saying we're going to provide assistance for the states to identify and implement this civil commitment and institutional treatment that is being forced upon people. I hope y'all following me. They're also criminalizing the actual act of being unhoused. So it says fighting vagrancy on America's streets. The Attorney General, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and the Secretary of Transportation shall take immediate steps to assess their discretionary grant programs and determine whether priority for those grants may be given to grantees in states and municipalities that actively meet the below criteria. To maximum extent permitted by law, enforce prohibitions on open illicit drug use. Illicit drugs are not defined here what that means. Enforce prohibitions. So prohibition means to ban. So enforce prohibitions on urban camping and loitering. So many times when people who are unhoused, they find themselves in tent cities where there is community, where they're not just by themselves on some street corner. So they're making that illegal. And enforcing prohibitions on urban squatting. Enforce and where necessary, adopt standards that address individuals who are a danger to themselves or others and suffer from serious mental illnesses, which are also not defined of what that means, or substance abuse disorder, or who are living on the street and cannot care for themselves through assisted outpatient treatment or by moving them into treatment centers or other appropriate facilities via civil commitment. That means you are committed against your will, or other available means to the maximum extent permitted by law. It also has here substantially implement and comply with, to the extent required, the registration and notification obligations of the Sex Offender Registry and Notification Act, particularly in the case of registered sex offenders with no fixed address, including by adequately mapping and checking the location of homeless sex offenders, which is interesting because the President of the United States is a sex offender, but go off. So I need us to process that, if you will. I need us to process that a few things. So we've talked about brain research here many times, and we've talked about how when our brains are in survival mode, that the only thing that we can do is this fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. And many times the fight is coming from a place of mental instability and trying to survive in a system that is not set up for you to be able to survive, a system that criminalizes you and penalizes you. So the outward manifestations that we see of mental health conditions come from traumatic experiences, come from people losing everything, come from people not being able to manage their life and therefore giving up and things of that nature. There are also those of us who live with mental health conditions such as anxiety, depression, OCD, autism, right? RFK, the what he is, the health secretary, he already wants a registry for people who are autistic. This sounding kind of Holocaustish like yet? I don't know. I'm just wondering. So they want to register people that are autistic, register people that have mental health conditions, and then commit those people to treatment facilities in order to keep the streets safe. And the danger in all of this is that there is so little defining what this means. They're using a very broad brush to paint what is a mental illness, what is an illicit drug, what is what type of treatment is happening in these centers. Now, what we know from history, because history is definitely repeating itself, okay, is that over history in the United States, that mental institutions were used as places to perpetuate trauma and criminalize people, a lot of Black people. The asylums of the past would lock people in with little care or rights. Now, I have never been in a mental health facility. I do know people that have been to a mental health facility. I cannot speak to the conditions that are happening currently in mental health facilities in the US. What I can speak to is what has happened in the past and what I can see happening based on this new executive order. And side note, before I go down there, let me explain with the executive orders why they're doing that. So, one of the things in creating a society that honors what you want it to honor, if you're in administration, is that you have to challenge the Constitution and you have to get things to the Supreme Court so the Supreme Court can make rulings on it so that precedent is able to be set. So, for instance, with cases like Brown versus the Board of Education, where it was about desegregating schools, they send, or even sit-ins, like they send people into the situation in order to test what the Constitution says that is supposed to be about and how that law is being interpreted. So right now, what these executive orders are doing is they're going to cause lawsuits. The lawsuits are then going to go up the chain to the Supreme Court. So then the Supreme Court will rule on it in order to be able to overturn the law or the precedents that is happening. So the reason he's doing all these executive orders is to break down the Constitution to be able to rebuild it to suit the purpose that he wants it to suit. So the executive order regarding mental health conditions and regarding homelessness and all of that is being placed under this umbrella of keeping America safe again. When in actuality, what has happened in the past is that certain people were considered unsafe, considered threats, considered mentally ill because they knew too much, because they saw too much, because they posed a threat, because they were not getting in line, because they were causing people to think for themselves and practice critical thinking skills as opposed to being a good soldier. So as this is broken down, that's where this is heading back towards that. So the institutions in the past, they would use all types of torturing techniques to try to help people. They would over medicate people. They would a lot of these mental institutions closed in the 1960s because there was a deinstitutionalization act or whatever that was passed. So they closed. But also the government didn't take that money, funding, whatever, and actually put it into supporting mental health. But before they closed, there was so much evidence of how people were being harmed and held against their will in these institutions. Once you are committed into an institution, you cannot just walk out the door because now you are considered to be unsafe to yourself and to the community. You lose your rights as a person. So now you are in effect in prison where you're supposed to be getting treatment. And we already know that the US is not in the habit of rehabilitating people. incarcerated individuals that get out of prison are not supported. They're not supported while they're in prison. They're treated like animals. Look at the things that are happening with the undocumented immigrants. The U.S. has already shown that they don't care about people who fall under these different categories. So now, with bringing safety and order back to the street with this executive order, it puts us back in a place of having institutions that are on the outside saying that they're going to help and support, but on the inside, you're further damaging people's mental health because they're being held against their will. Very scary. It is. It's terrifying, honestly. And it's one of the reasons why, like, this generation, we've had a lot of conversations about, like, talking about mental health and thinking about our mental health and what that looks like and sounds like. One of the reasons the previous generations did not discuss mental health is because it wasn't safe. Because if you did show that you had a mental illness, then you were going to be committed against your will into one of these institutions. Y'all, these institutions are used as haunted houses. There was an institution in New Orleans I remember going to when I was in high school, and it was a mental institution. I was supposed to be helping people, but it had turned into a haunted house because of the type of the things that they were doing to people in these institutions. When in reality, what was happening is people are reacting to trauma. They're reacting to a lack of safety. They're reacting to neglect that is happening by the system. But the system is punishing that instead of healing that. When people are in long-term survival mode, when people are systemically oppressed, when people are experiencing microaggressions relentlessly, when they are experiencing workplace trauma relentlessly and chronic stress, they often experience mental health crises and breakdowns. And it has nothing to do with them being crazy, is that their nervous system is exhausted because the system is built for you to burn yourself the fuck out. And a lot of people turn to substances because they are trying to manage and balance what is happening in their spirit and in their mind so that they're able to continue operating. It's a coping mechanism. There's a root cause of trauma that needs to be addressed, but instead we're criminalizing those people and taking away their rights as human beings to be able to advocate for themselves and to be able to get treatment. So I need us to like understand the impact of the things that are happening and how we are going to support ourselves. One of the things that I have had the opportunity to do that I really, really appreciate is working with different mental health professionals through Beautiful Brown Girls. And I used to host mental health panels because we have so much miseducation and disinformation about mental health and what that looks like and sounds like and how we take care of our mental health and the lack of respect that we put on our brains. So I went out and I sought these mental health professionals to be able to support us in learning about what's happening with ourselves and helping us to heal the harm that the country, the systems, our workplaces, our families, like repair that harm. We're going to need to have those networks where we are able to support each other because it's not going to be safe to just get any therapist. Right? Because now people are going to be like, I can't say too much because if I say too much, then you're going to have me committed. There's a movement right now of decolonizing therapy, and a lot of mental health professionals are even walking away from licensing structures because a lot of the ways that they teach many mental health professionals is as if you are broken and needs to be fixed. And that's why a lot of them prescribe medicine and like they're like, you need to make your brain operate this way so that you're able to operate in society, without honoring the fact that society was not constructed to operate in a way that honors people. We are not robots. We are not these inexhaustive beings that are able to just work ourselves to the bone for somebody else's betterment. That is not how we are designed to live and operate as human beings. The system is set up for the rich and the wealthy to be able to use those of us that are down here in the working world and use us up until we can't be used no more. And then they do things like, I talked to us about the young lady that was in Georgia that they kept alive artificially to be able to incubate the baby. And I don't even know what happened to the baby. I need to look that up. But to incubate this baby, and this woman was brain dead. So now they figured out how to do that. You're in an institution where you don't have control over your body. You don't have rights. Nobody's looking for you. They've said that they're treating you to things. What is stopping them from using us to be able to repopulate the workforce? And I know I might sound real conspiracy theory, and I can honor that. I can honor that. But also, this is not far-fetched because this shit has already happened. The founder of gynecology used Black women's bodies without anesthesia to operate and practice on how to learn about women's bodies. That already happened. Henrietta Lacks's body, or her cells, were used against her will, her family's will, to be able to use in stem cell research. Our bodies have already been used as experiments. So it's not far-fetched to think that they will do it again, especially when these orders look like they're going directly towards that. So the question then becomes, what do we do? Because this is scary and this is terrifying and this is a lot. One, I've already told y'all many times, if you are able to leave, you need to be thinking about what that looks like. Real talk. I'm not the type of chick where somebody was asking me the other day about my zombie apocalypse plan. I don't need to be there for the zombie apocalypse. Take me out. I'm good. I have zero desire to fight in that type of environment. I say that to say some of us, that's not where we're supposed to fight. Like, that's not what we're supposed to do. So if you have the means and you have the abilities to be able to leave, I strongly urge you. I strongly urge you to be thinking about what that looks like and that sounds like. Okay. That's the first thing. Second, everybody can't leave. All right. Some people cannot leave because they don't have resources. They don't have they have parents, there are other things, whatever the reason is. So then the next question is, how are you making sure that you are okay? So I am compiling a list of mental health specialists that I trust, that I have personally worked with, that are able to be used as resources to be able to get support. I'm also working on reconnecting with organizations that have databases already. So for instance, I'm going to be reaching back out to Therapy for Black Girls and seeing what they're doing in regards to what's happening. As well as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, there was another site that I need to reach out to that founder and see how she is and what she is thinking about doing. But basically what's going to happen is we need to form our own networks of support. We have to form our own networks of support and safe people that we are able to go to that can help us work through what is happening with our mental health without being afraid that we are then going to wind up in the system. So if you are a mental health specialist, you are someone who has studied trauma and commits to decolonization, I need you to reach out to me so that we can get connected, because this is serious and it's far reaching. The third thing is, what wellness practices do you have in place for yourself? I was just meeting with a teacher earlier and I was telling them the same thing, because they were talking about their special education teacher, and they were talking about how they want to help their students with emotional regulation. And I don't know if y'all know this, but conversations about emotional regulation, social emotional learning, self-awareness. So let me take a brief side note right here. So social emotional competencies are 5 different competencies. So there's self awareness, which is your ability to be able to recognize what is happening with you and in you. So, for instance, using tools like the feelings wheel is something that helps you to be able to name your emotions, process your emotions, and really understand what you are experiencing. Then you have self management. So now that you understand what you are feeling, how do you manage that? How do you process that? How do you work yourself through those different feelings and emotions and the things that are happening in your brain? Next, there's social awareness, recognizing that there are other people in the world and that your world impacts their world. Understanding that you have your own things that are going on, so do other people. So, thinking about how we interact with other people, how do we use empathy when we're dealing with others? How do we show up as a better human for other humans? The next is positive relationship building. How do we build deep and impactful relationships? How do we repair relationships when harm is caused? How do we work in our relationships and show up continuously as a person who is willing to be in relationship with other people? And then the fifth component is responsible decision making. And that thread is kind of weaved throughout. How do you make responsible decisions with yourself, with others, with the way that you have relationships? All of that type of talk is illegal in the US now. That was another executive order that was signed. It's called woke ideology, when in essence, what it is emotional intelligence. They don't want us or our children to be able to manage our emotions. They want to use you. You crash out, and now you go off to the institution. They can't use you no more. So, our work and our resistance is supporting ourselves in our own mental health and our own mental wellness, thinking about the strategies that we have in place to be able to protect our brains and protect our spirits. One of the things that we have to do is put boundaries in place. And one of the reasons why I try to bring stuff to you in a way that hopefully is digestible and not feeling overwhelming, and also give practical tips and things, is because it's a lot. They are doing a lot right now, and it is shaking the entire world. Um, So, one of the boundaries that a lot of people have in place is that they don't watch the news, because the news is entertainment, the news is sensationalized, there's a lot going on. So, you may have boundaries in place regarding that. And I understand that. I'm also going to say, though, is that we have to have safe places and sources for where we do get the news, because we do need to know what's going on. So, what does that look like for you to be able to stay aware of what is happening without causing yourself to be overwhelmed by what is happening? So that looks like digital boundaries, emotional boundaries, right? Limiting the intake of news or social media, using your social media to be able to, for instance, like my social media algorithm is very much directed towards decolonization, mental health advocacy, and community care. So finding those type of spaces as opposed to spaces that are sensationalizing what is happening. The other thing is having accountability groups, having a mentor, having check-ins, having people that you are having these conversations with, so that you are able to have support. I'm literally unfollowing people right now. Yes. You look, I believe in the Block and Be Blessed ministry. I believe if something they put and don't jive, you got to go. You got to go, because we do have the power to curate our algorithm to an extent. because I don't know if y'all also heard that there's legislation. I know y'all know this, that there's been legislation with TikTok. But basically, what happened is they're making a new version of TikTok for the US. And that version of TikTok is only going to be limited to the US. And the algorithm is owned by the US. And that should concern you because that limits your access to what is happening in the rest of the world. So that's the other thing that we have to be asking ourselves as we're looking for community, as we're connecting with people, as we're thinking about what our digital spaces look like. Am I getting a real view of what is happening around the world, not just in the US? Because the US is a propaganda machine. They're going to feed the things that are going to keep the people in line, keep the people outraged, keep the people unstable, keep the people in survival mode. Go to work, go home, go to work, go home, go to work, go home until you can't do that no more. And then they send you off to pasture, wherever that pasture might be, whether that's jail, whether that's an institution, whether that's alligator alley, whatever that looks like. So we want to be thinking about this stuff proactively. Um, and also asking ourselves, what information am I getting and where is that information coming from, and what is the goal and the reason for the people who are giving me this information? What are they trying to do? How do they want me to feel? What are they wanting me to think as they're giving me this information? All of these are questions that we have to ask ourselves so that your spirit is able to guide you towards safe places to be able to stay informed about what is happening. So all of that is a part of our soul work. But this is the prompt that I want to center in on, is what does your nervous system need to feel safe? I really, really need us to think about this with real intention. What do you need to feel safe? Is it carpet tiles that you need so that you can put your toes in something that's fuzzy? Is it that you need to be able to take a walk every day? Is it that you need to be able to breathe for a moment? Matter of fact, this is a strategy that one of my friends who was a yoga teacher taught me, and I don't remember what it's called right now, but it is a bilateral strategy, and bilaterals activate both sides of the brain and calm the nervous system. I got to do some research on, it's like the vagus nerve, and when the vagus nerve is calm, then it allows us to move into, I believe it's a parasympathetic state. I'm gonna come back with that information. But anyway, what I was finna do is breathe. So you take your fingers like this. And so basically, if you're listening to me and not watching, it's like if you were doing the sign language letter for Y. So your thumb is out and then your pinky is out. And what you do is you hold down one side of your nostrils. So you have two nostrils, right? So right now I'm taking my thumb and I'm pressing my thumb to close my right nostril. And I'm going to breathe in through my left nostril. Then I'm going to switch and I'm going to close my left nostril and breathe out through my right nostril. Okay. So this is a way to be able to force deep breathing and to reset our nervous system. I need to do that right now. So join with me if you will. If you exhale longer than you inhale, I am told that that also helps to stabilize your nervous system more quickly. If you inhale through your mouth through your nose for 4, and then do like a deep sigh exhale. That is also a way to be able to move energy through your body. So that might look like inhale for 4, exhale for 8. Or inhale for 4, deep sigh for as long as you can. Strategies like that, breathwork strategies, are things that you can keep with you. Nobody can take that from you. It's free, it costs nothing. So that's something that you can put into your practice that will help you if you are feeling like you are overwhelmed or you're feeling like you're not safe. Another strategy that I'm really, really fond of is what we would call stimming. So I'm not going to do it now because I'm sitting up, but basically, when I'm doing it when I'm standing, is you like move like this and let all of the energy just like go out of your body. So you just bounce like this, and you bend your knees and you just bounce up and down, and it moves the energy through your body. Also, sometimes people will flap, so they'll just like move their hands like this, or like do like this, like swimmers do sometimes, crossing your arms in front of each other. That's another way to be able to move energy. You can also move energy by finding a wall or a hard surface and push it as hard as you possibly can until your body is exhausted. And then after you do that, you take a deep breath, you shake it out, you reassess. If you still have stuck energy, you do it again. These are strategies that we're able to use to help ourselves to balance ourselves. So when I ask, what does your nervous system need to feel safe? I need you to identify that. And I also want you to choose at least one strategy that feels authentic to who you are so that you are able to support yourself in stabilizing your nervous system. I also would like to offer an affirmation, for instance, because a lot of times we place labels on ourselves. We call ourselves broken, or we say things like, I'm too sensitive, or I'm too emotional, or I'm an overthinker, or whatever. Like, we're telling ourselves these labels when we really need to change those narratives. So, an affirmation might sound like, I am not my diagnosis. I'm a soul reclaiming peace. I am not broken. I am honoring my brain and what my brain needs to feel safe. I am safe. I am safe in my body. I am grounded. I am okay. I am connected. I am here. I have a grounding meditation that I do every morning. And actually, if y'all want it, I can share it with you. I sent it to my intern the other day, but it really helps to get our brain in the practice of reminding ourselves that we can control our internal environment. We have the ability to be able to create a safe nervous system in the midst of everything else that is happening. Okay. So that's the soul work for the week. And if you will tell me in the comments what that looks like for you, you can either tell me what your nervous system needs to feel safe. You can tell me the strategy that you like. Maybe you all have some other ones that you use that you really like. So please do share those so the community can learn from that as well. And then I also, if you have affirmations that you share with yourself or that you write for yourself and you feel safe sharing those, I would love for you to tell me those in the comments as well, because it can help somebody else think about what they need in their particular context to be able to support themselves. So yeah, so that's that. What if the thing you've always called too much was the exact thing God designed on purpose? This is for the ones who've always known they were different. Too sensitive, too loud, too knowing, too intuitive, too woo-woo. But what if your sensitivity is actually your superpower? What if your intuition was your inheritance? Discover Your Destiny is a 10-week sacred journey back to yourself. We explore the design of your soul, your spiritual gifts, and the unique way that God speaks to you. This isn't church. It's not a rule book. It's not a performance. It's the moment you stop chasing approval and start walking in divine alignment. You'll gain clarity, language, and confidence around who you are and what you are here on the earth to do. You'll learn the real voice of God. And if you feel called to go on to become a certified intuitive melanated life coach, this is where that path begins. There are 2 ways to enter this sacred container: the Destiny track, full investments and coaching experience, or the Divine Exchange track, where internship meets soul work. You'll support podcasting, content creation, or brand development behind the scenes while learning how your unique gifts benefit the collective. Your knowing isn't a flaw. It's the fingerprint of God. This is your invitation, and I hope that you'll answer. All right, so let's shift a little bit to Frolicking in the Feed, because I had went down to the Cowboy Carter concert in on the TikTok. Oh, I love this affirmation. This affirmation said, "I'm that bitch." Exactly. This is a great pivot over to Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. Okay. What that song say? I woke up. I don't know all the words right now. It looks so good because I'm on that hoe. All these songs sound good because I'm on that hoe. Dead ass. I'm dead ass. It's not the diamonds. It's not the pearls. I'm that girl. It's just that I'm that girl. It's not my man. It's not my stand. I'm that girl. It's just that I'm that girl from the top of the morning now. Okay, listen. That woman inspires me in a way that is just so wow. That's my morning affirmation song. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Because we need the reminders. Okay. Yes. So I went down to the Cowboy Carter concert on the TikToks. And first thing I realized, one, is that I'm a full-on auntie. When I tell you I was in tears the entire time. Okay. And I can only imagine. So I've seen Beyonce in concert. The first time I wasn't a Beyonce fan. Let me say that. I wasn't a Beyonce fan when she was with Destiny's Child. I felt like she came across inauthentic for some reason to me. It felt like really produced, I guess. And also I'm somebody who likes to know and feel the depth in what you call them. Their music, Destiny's Child's music, didn't necessarily hit right. It didn't hit like that for me. I was cool, but I wasn't a fan per se. I wasn't about to spend no money to go to no concert. Well, then Beyonce came to Essence for the Dangerously in Love tour. And baby, she made a fan out of me. I say, excuse me, sis. Excuse me. I did not know that you was that girl. Okay. And ever since then, I have been Team Beyonce. And so we're literally the same age. It was so commercial. It wasn't resonating with me at all. But once she went solo and really started like making music, and especially this Beyonce, like Formation, Lemonade, Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, Beyonce, hey, girl, you better talk that shit. Okay? So, and it's real woman shit, because again, we're the same age, right? So even her transition into cussing, and like, I'm here for this because we are 40 plus years old. I'm grown as fuck, okay? So the whole time I'm thinking in my mind, like, She has worked so hard to get to this place. Now, granted, Beyonce came from money. Okay, not like rich money, but they had money. She was not poor and unprivileged. Okay, so she did have a step up in that way, but there is still so much work that she had to put in order to become Beyonce. Okay, and I'm so here for it. So I had already liked, so I didn't go to the Renaissance tour. I went and saw the movie. And of course, I'm out the country, so I didn't make the Chitlin circuit for Cowboy Carter. But in my experience, I mentioned I saw her at Essence. The second time I saw her was the Formation tour. And baby, when I tell you I was about to pass out, I was so excited. Like the energy is so wild up in there. Is the stadium is shaking. You can feel the bass in your heart. Like it is so much. And she be talking that shit. And I be here for it. I be here for it. So from the moment that the concert started down there at the TikTok child, I was locked in. Now I've seen the concert a few times. And this is the thing. Do you know what kind of influence and what kind of badassery you have to have for it not to matter that your entire concert is on YouTube and TikTok and you know people still finna come and buy tickets and be in there like they never seen it before? Girl, 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 girl. Beyonce said we not about to be tracking down TikTok content creators and let them put it up. Let them put it up. Don't care. Because I said what I said and I'm finna say it again. And every night is gonna be a different show. The looks, the looks, the looks, the fashion. Hey, Mama Tina, girl, 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 girl. So I said, I was like, I want to see this last concert so I can see what she do different, you know. So I'm already crying when she start off with American Requiem, you know, and the whole theme. And y'all could tell me in the comments because I know y'all was there and stuff. The whole theme was don't ask for permission for what was already yours, right? So thinking about cowboy what's it called, country music, we are the indigenous people. We if anybody, country is us. We are the ones who created that and what that looked like and sound like, right? So reclamation, yes, you know. So I was all for it, all for it. Like, so from the first beat drop, I was there and I was ready. And then when Blue Ivy came out there, let me say something. I am so proud of that little girl. I am so proud of her because she has worn her life with so much grace. And the girl is 13 years old. This girl went from mama can I be on stage and her mama being like, you could try one time, her being on stage, hey, used to have her little sunglasses on because she wasn't really looking out at the crowd like that, just trying to get it figured out. They done took this girl to school. She is holding her own with professional dancers. I don't know if y'all know this about me, that I'm a dancer. And I used to dance with a semi-professional dance company. But that dancing that they doing, that's not no light work. Okay, not just the dancing, the choreography, the learning the choreography, the executing the choreography with excellence every single time, the going full out, like all of that is training. And this 13-year-old girl is up there with people who have done this professionally in their career for years. Tears. You hear me? Tears falling out my eyes, shirt wet, like, oh my God. I don't know how Beyonce kept it together because I very much would have lost my shit every night. Then Rumi, child. Rumi started out coming out there not really sure, okay, because she ain't never been out on the stage on tour before. So here she come out for her song Protector, okay, that she got credits on. Sister made her whole choreography. By the end of it, Rumi did her a pirouette in arabesque into a bow. Child, I'm here for it, girl. Add on to your choreography, girl. Add on to it. So I was just in here crying, just crying the entire time, and just imagining how it could possibly feel to know that this many people have chosen to support you and honor the movement that you're creating, and leaving inspired and leaving thinking about what it looks like to own who we are and own the brilliance that we have. She also, of course, she has the song America has a problem. Okay. I don't know if y'all knew that, but absolutely, positively. Um, Even during that song, she talked about, or it showed up like propaganda, and honoring like how much propaganda that we have been subjected to in the US, and her calling that and naming that out. I want us to give it up for the artists. Kendrick Lamar kicked it off at the top of the year with the Super Bowl, and it might have been somebody before him, but the Super Bowl performance, and basically being like, we finna do what we finna do. Yes, he was talking to Drake, but he was also talking to the system and the establishment, that he had the ability to get that stage because Jay-Z, who is Beyonce's husband, sits in this position of influence. I remember reporting on that when I was with Beautiful Brown Girls. Also, did y'all know I used to have a talk show? I don't know if y'all know that. I don't know if y'all know that I used to have a talk show. I also don't know if y'all know that I am trained. I'm a trained actor, model, and host. What time is it? Do I have time to tell this story? Let me try to tell this story right quick. The year was 2015. 10 years ago. It was the end of February 2015. And I was driving in the car, and I heard this commercial on Pandora Radio. And the commercial said, we're looking for actors, models, and talent for Christ. Come to this particular place for an audition. We're looking for people to go into the entertainment industry and spread the word of the Lord. And I thought it was really interesting. So I sent it to my ex. This is the one had the abusive, he was abusive. But he also sang and acted, I guess, shade intended. So I sent it to him, and I was like, you be acting and stuff, you should go do this, and you be singing and stuff like this, like the Christian American Idol, you should go do that, right? So I sent it to him. So then I was driving another day, I heard the commercial again, and I said, guess what, Lord? I already told him. You know why? Because I'm a great person. I'm a great friend. And by this time, we weren't together. We weren't really together at all, honestly. We were trying to be friends, and I was trying to get the fuck up out of there. So anyway, so I was like, I'm a great friend. I sent it to him. So, okay. Then I hear the commercial a third time, and I was like, are you sending this commercial to me for me to hear? Can't be. Me? Acting model? Now, mind you, I started acting when I was 3 years old. Okay. My first role was in the Christmas play as the big angel. Don't be afraid. You're going to have a baby, and you will name him Jesus. That was one of my lines. Thank you. I'm pausing for your applause. I appreciate it. But yeah, so that was my first performance on stage. And then when I was younger, my mom always had me in like summer programs and Saturday academies and all that kind of stuff. And I was in Adventures of Mall City. Okay, so this was a production that was put on at the University of New Orleans, and I was in their engineering program for little ones. So we were like doing mechanical engineering and engineering with Legos at the time, robotics and all that. I was doing all that shit. So anyway, they had an audition for Adventures in Mall City, and I went for the lead role and got it, killed it. Okay. In school, I was always trying to be a part of some kind of production, some kind of play. I'm a character. I really am. I know a lot of people don't know that about me, but I am. So it felt weird, but also not. But also, I'm a teacher at this point. You know, I'm serious. I had to go get a real job. You know, so I'm like, God, you can't be talking to me. And God was like, yes, I'm talking to you. So I said, all right, cool. So I'm gonna go to the audition or whatever. And you know, I'm gonna just go. I know I can't really do this, but I'm gonna just go. So I get to the audition and I didn't know what to wear first off, because what do you even wear to audition? Who knows? But my birthday had just passed. My favorite color is yellow. So I had just gotten this yellow necklace and this new yellow purse. So I had got it from Charming Charlie's. I don't know if y'all know that store. It was a big old accessory store and everything was color coded and I loved it so much. So anyway, I had my new yellow purse and my new yellow necklace. So I was like, I'm gonna wear this. So I built my look around that. Okay. So I get to the table and they're like, you know, look at you in your yellow. And I was like, thank you, girl. This is my favorite color. Like, I love this. And so they said, okay, so we're going to have you audition with Carrie. And I was like, who is Carrie? And they were like, oh, you'll audition with Carrie. You don't mind like being in a room with other people or anything. And I was like, no, I don't think so. No. I know I've told this story before. I don't know if I've told it here, but also I'm an auntie, so listen again. So anyway, Carrie winds up being the chief serving officer of the organization. The organization is no longer around, but it was called Actors, Models, and Talent for Christ. So we get in there, they have praise and worship, which I thought was really cool. And then Carrie comes out and introduces herself. So then I'm like, oh Lord, you funny. So you got me auditioning with the head person. Okay. So the room was kind of set up. If you've ever watched like So You Think You Can Dance and seen the auditions or things like that, it was a room like auditorium and then the stage, as opposed to it being like the private room, for instance, on American Idol, where they just come in and it's just the judges. So Carrie was there, but then it was also a room full of people that were waiting to go to their auditions in different rooms. So I'm sitting there and the first girl that went up, she was singing her little soul out. And I was like, get it, girl. And also, that's not really my ministry. And then there were two people that were in front of me. So I'm taking time, you know, to get myself together. And then they got up, child, because they was in the wrong room. So then I was next. So then it was time for me to go up. And I was like, oh, Lord. Okay. So I get up there. And the first thing they had me do was walk. Okay. You know why? Because I'm a model. I'm going to put the videos in here, y'all. My little self, I'm 5'3", y'all. And also at the time, I was very much plus size. So I was probably like a size 14 or so. And she was like, you know, first thing we'll have it, but I know how to walk. I know how to work these little legs. Okay. So I did my little walk or whatever. And then I had to do a commercial. And the commercial was about Steve Madden shoes. And I remember I was like, Steve Madden shoes. Something. And I had on these cute shoes. They wasn't Steve Madden, but you know, I played the role or whatever. So then I get down off the stage and then you go talk to the judge. So the judge was Carrie. So Carrie was like, why are you here today? And I was like, girl, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no earthly idea why I am here. I started not to come. And she looked at me and she said, you try so hard to shrink and hide in rooms. She said, you sit in the back of rooms just trying to fit in and be quiet. And people will part the room to ask you what you think. And I was like, how she know my life? Oh my God. Yes, that happens to me all the time. So she said, I don't know why you think you're here, but I'm so glad that you came. And I'm looking forward to what God is going to do through you. So I leave my audition. My ex, he was chronically late. He came finally for his audition. So we go to his audition. He sings and he know how to sing and it's fine. Okay, cool. So we're leaving the audition and we're leaving out the elevator and Carrie is getting on the elevator and Carrie stops and she said, you are special. And then she looked at him and she was like, look at her. look at, isn't she special? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, no, you look at her. She's got something special. And she looked at me again and she said, I can't wait to see what God does through you. And that's when I started. I got the call back the next day and I started my acting and modeling training. So I trained with AMTC from 2015 to 2017. In 2017, I had what was called Shine. And Shine is, it was like a showcase. And you would go and you would present your particular areas that you have been studying for. Kimberlyn Jackson, 5 feet 3 inches. I'm a certified educator and life coach, and I recently wrote my first stage play. So I did like a script reading section. I did a commercial. Are you dealing with damaged, frizzy hair, dry skin, or cracked lips this winter season? Or maybe you've run out of salad dressing, coffee creamer, or furniture polish. Either way, I've got the perfect solution for you. Coconut oil. It's the creative answer to life's pesky problems. I also did, and I'm gonna put them in here. I'm gonna let y'all see it, okay? I also did, I did this, I don't know what it was called. It was kind of like a monologue, but basically I was like, have you ever tried to get off the phone with somebody and you be like, all right, I'm gonna let you go, and they just don't want to be let go? So I came up with a plan. Say something really interesting. Girl, did I tell you about? And then you just go silent. They think your phone died. It works like a charm every time. Have you ever tried to get off the phone with someone who just doesn't get it? Every time you say, all right, I'll let you go, they just don't want to be let go. So I came up with a plan. Say something really interesting. Girl, did I tell you? And then you just go silent. They think your phone died. Works like a charm every time. That was the monologue. Now, post-COVID days, Zoom days, I'm not going to say that I've done this, but I've seen people be fake frozen so they could get off a call. Okay, you're welcome for the tip. So anyway, so I did all of that at the showcase. I wound up getting an agent. I actually had 2 agents over the course of my career, my short-lived career in acting and modeling. And shortly after that, I started with Beautiful Brown Girls. So Beautiful Brown Girls, my friend at the time had reached out because I had said I wanted to have a talk show. I was like, because I be talking and I be having things to say. And she had come across this post that said that they were looking for an online host to interview people. So I write this beautiful email. I'm going to have to find it. But I was like, hello, my name is Kimberlyn and I'm a beautiful brown girl. And I don't know what else I said, but it was so good. But I wrote that letter and then I had to do an audition. So I had to interview someone and then I got the job. And I had those talk shows for 6 years. So I had a talk show named Brown Girl Boss, where I would bring on Black women and I would interview them about the things that they were doing. And then I had a show named Brown Conversations with Sab, and it was our girl talk time, and we would talk about different things that were happening in the world. I said all that to say I'm trained to do this. Okay. I am a trained actor, a trained model, a trained host. And it is a skill set. I know sometimes people think you could just turn on the microphone and start talking, but it's a skill set to understand how to further a conversation, how to ask good questions, how to hold space, how to actively listen while also doing all the production stuff that I was also doing. That's where I learned how to be a producer, because I was producing these shows. I didn't know that's what it was called at the time. I didn't know what it was called, doing the show. But that's what it was. It was virtual production. So I learned how to do that, how to create a run of show so that you have all your assets in place, right? So even though my slides ain't sharing today because Mercury retrograde, but having all of that stuff prepared to actually put on a production. And I did that for a while. And I did runway modeling, walked in a couple fashion weeks, and got to work with some amazing designers, and I really appreciated that. I also did theater. So I was in the Crucible. I played Tituba in the Crucible. If you're not familiar with that story, it is very applicable to what is happening today. You may want to read it. It's about the Salem witch trials and accusing people of being witches for different reasons that were unsubstantiated. And it's actually a real story that happened in Salem, Massachusetts. But I played Tituba, who was the only Black person in that play, and she was a slave from Barbados. So I did that. I had to have an accent. I have to find it. There was a review that somebody had written, and this was in Sarasota at the time, but the review was like, said something like, I acted, because it was a very like emotive role, but you can also overact and it become too much. And the review was like, I didn't overact. Like, it felt very natural and it felt very authentic to the role. I did that. I've been on sets.
They expect me to say this drivel? I'm a gifted actor, not a miracle worker.
Hold on.
But we have a continuity problem.
Yeah, we do. Why are you trying to make a movie all by yourself? It takes people working together, sharing their skill and artistry to create a great film. In fact, we have something that will help our film community do just that. Southwest Florida Films, in partnership with the Sarasota Film Commission, are opening a new competition starting on May 15th. The 2017 Sarasota Community Short Film Competition.
So I've done a lot of these things, right? And I also got the hell up out of them, because this is what I want you to know. It's a wild world in entertainment. It is a wild, wild, wild world in entertainment. And bringing this back to Beyonce, one of the things that I appreciate about her most is the way that she has set up her boundaries for how she's going to interact with people. Because just as many people are in those stadiums that are screaming for her and rooting her on and crying on TikTok, there are just as many people who are actively praying against her, wanting harm to come towards her, hating on everything about her. And I remember I had listened to an interview by Tabitha Brown within the last year or so. And she was like, my goal is to just be more like Beyonce. And the way that I interpreted that was like, fuck them people and that shit they're talking about. I'm finna say what I said. I meant what I said. I'm about to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm about to do it the way that God told me to do it. I'm about to leave it all on the stage. I'm leaving a legacy for my babies, and y'all can kiss my ass after that. I'm here for it. You know why? Because I'm that girl. So I feel like we all need to have that mantra. I feel like we can all be more like Beyonce. And we can all take the time to appreciate the crafts that we have crafted and show up in excellence in that, so that we are able to leave the mark that we're supposed to leave on the world. Whether that's as an artist and a creative, whether that is as a podcaster, whether that is as an educator, whether that is as a content creator, an editor, someone who, a writer, an author. Like, there are so many ways that we're able to show up in excellence. And that is my charge for us, because the artists right now are really showing us how to do the things. They're really showing it. I want to give a quick shout out to Kev on stage. Sir. Kevin Fredericks, Kev on stage, Melissa Fredericks, his wife, Mrs. Kev on stage, the on stages. They just announced. So Kev had wanted to create a show, and he produced Churchy. He had it on his own app, and the app wound up having to close. But out of that, he was able to sell Churchy to BET. He was renewed for a season 2. which is about to air next month. And he produced a show called The Hospital that was just picked up by BET itself. There was an article that was written the other day, and also many of us who are in the stage crew, shout out to the stage crew if y'all ain't here. Many of us was ready to throw down because the article was like, Kev on stage is like Tyler Perry. And, you know, people be talking ill of Tyler Perry. So I was ready to definitely take my earrings off and be like, say what now? Say what now? But basically the article was saying how Tyler Perry has crafted out this niche for himself. He's crafted out the sound studio. He has created a production studio. He's created so many opportunities for Black actors. I just knew I was going to be on Tyler Perry Productions, okay? I just knew I was fin to be down. I was going to move to Atlanta, and I was fin to be on one of them shows. God had other plans, and that's all right. But Tyler has created so many opportunities for people. And the article was saying how Kevin Fredericks, Kevin on Stage, has done that same thing. The universe he has created so many opportunities for people. And he never hesitates to honor that. So I want to shout him out because he is an inspiration with how he shows up for other people, the way that he shows up as an artist, the way that he shows up as himself. And it is something that I am intentional about doing and something that I appreciate seeing. So shout out to Beyonce. Shout out to Kev on Stage. Shout out to the artists that are out here carving out the arenas to support the people and to help the people find themselves and their roles of what that's supposed to look like and sound like. Okay. All right, y'all. That's it. That's all really that I have for today for the most part, because I got meetings all day, y'all. So I'm about to go rest my voice for a moment. But I wanted to remind you, this that I do is free. Right. And I really, really, really would appreciate your support. If you are able to join the inner circle for $5 a month, I would deeply appreciate that support because that helps me to be able to show up more consistently and regularly for you all. I want to buy a vlogging camera so that I can show you all my morning routines and show you more about what my life looks like. And contributing to the Patreon is a way for you to be able to help me do that. I'm also doing some classes that's going to be coming up. So I had sent somebody the recipe the other day for them to infuse some oil because I don't want to sell products. I just want to teach you how to do it. So if you come join the Patreon, then I can teach you how to do the things and then you can teach somebody else and then we just keep growing, right? So $5 a month for the inner circle. I really appreciate it. If you are able to commit that, I ask that you really consider it. It is going towards an amazing cause, that being me, as well as the work that I am doing. So I would love to see you there. Okay. Also, keep in mind that we do have the Healing Circle every other Saturday. So there won't be one this week, but there will be one next week. You can register for the Healing Circle at tinyurl.com/Black Women Healing Circle. And that is an experience, again, for you to be able to come and get some strategies, breathing techniques, grounding techniques, things of that nature, and really find community that is a safe space to process what is happening and help us to stabilize our nervous systems and to support our mental health. It is free of charge. The only thing is that you have to be a Black woman. You have to register, and I need you to turn your camera on so I can see that you're a Black woman. Other than that, come on up in here, you know? So I wanted to point that out as well. Make sure y'all are following me on all the places, all the spaces. So Kimberlyn J on Instagram, Minding My Black Ass Business, mindingmybblackassbusiness.com, KimberlynJackson.com, Minding My Black Ass Business here on the YouTubes. Again, I am starting the series of Gathered to be able to have guests on to share with us and to learn us something about different things. So be looking out for that. If you are interested in being a guest on Gathered, please email me at Kimberlyn@KimberlynJackson.com. I am looking for people to have on to talk about their areas of expertise and help us to really build community. So please do make sure you are connected with me in that way. So our quote today is by Nina Simone. An artist's duty is to reflect the times in which we live. So whether that's walking the runway, surviving a mental health breakdown, or watching Beyonce reclaim America in a crystal-studded cowboy hat, we are watching art do what it does, do what it was always meant to do, which is tell the truth, challenge the narrative, and call us home to ourselves. So as we move through a world that tries to criminalize struggle and silence creativity and free thoughts and critical thinking, I hope you remember that your truth is a form of resistance. Your joy is a form of protest. Your story has power. I want us to stay grounded, stay curious, and stay free. All right? I'll see y'all next time. I love y'all so much. Thank you for fighting with me through all the tech difficulties. All right? I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Frolicking Truth, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get free. Please be sure to like, rate, and comment. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Minding My Black Ass Business, and follow me on all social platforms. Until next time.